The Four Standards by Ginzberg. When God appeared upon Sinai, he was surrounded by 22,000 angels, all in full array and divided into groups, each of which had its own standard. Looking upon these angel hosts, Israel wished like them to be divided into groups with standards, and God fulfilled their wish. After Moses had completed the census of the people, God said to him, "Fulfill their wish and provide them with standards as they desire. Every man of the children of Israel shall pitch by his own standard, with the ensign of their father's house. Far off about the tabernacle of the congregation shall they pitch." This commission greatly agitated Moses, who thought, "Now will there be much strife among the tribes. If I bid the tribe of Judah pitch in the east, it will surely state its preference for the south, and every tribe will likewise choose any direction but the one assigned to it." But God said to Moses, "Do not concern thyself with the position of the standards of the tribes, for they have no need of thy direction." Their father Jacob, before his death, ordered them to group themselves about the tabernacle, just as his sons were to be grouped about his bier at the funeral procession. When Moses now told the people to divide themselves in groups round about the tabernacle, they did it in the manner Jacob had bidden them. 439. The Lord by wisdom hath founded the earth, by understanding hath he established the heavens. The division of the tribes of Israel according to four standards, as well as their subdivision at each standard, is not arbitrary and accidental. It corresponds to the same plan and direction as that of which God made use in heaven. The celestial throne is surrounded by four angels, to the right Michael, in front Gabriel, to the left Uriel, and to the rear Raphael. To these four angels corresponded the four tribes of Reuben, Judah, Dan, and Ephraim, the standard bearers. Michael earned his name, "Who is like unto God?" by exclaiming during the passage of Israel through the Red Sea, "Who is like unto thee, O Lord, among the gods?" And he made a similar statement when Moses completed the Torah, saying, "There is none like unto the God of Jeshurun." In the same way Reuben bore upon his standard the words, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." Hence Reuben's position with his standard to the right of the sanctuary corresponded exactly to Michael's post at the right of the celestial throne. Gabriel, "God is mighty," stands in front of the throne, as Judah, mightiest among his brethren, was the standard bearer in front of the camp. Dan, the tribe from which emanated dark sin, stood at the left side of the camp with his standard, corresponding to the angel Uriel, "God is my light." For God illuminated the darkness of sin by the revelation of the Torah, in the study of which this angel instructed Moses, and devotion to which is penance for sin. The tribe of Ephraim was the standard bearer to the rear of the camp, occupying the same position as Raphael, God heals, holds the celestial throne. For this tribe, from which sprang Jeroboam, was in need of God's healing for the wound that this wicked king dealt Israel. God had other reasons for the divisions of the tribes that he decreed, for he said to Moses, "In the east whence comes the light shall the tribe of Judah, whence arises the light of sovereignty, pitch its camp, and with them the tribe of Issachar, with whom dwells the light of the Torah, and Zebulun, shining through the wealth. From the south come the dews of blessing and the rains of plenty, hence shall Reuben pitch on this side, for this tribe owes its existence to the penitent deeds of its forefather, penance being that which causes God to send his blessing upon the world. Beside Reuben shall stand the warlike tribe of Gad, and between these two Simeon, in order that this tribe, made weak by its sins, might be protected on either side by the piety of Reuben and the heroism of Gad. In the west are storehouses of snow, the storehouses of hail, of cold, and of heat, and as powerless as are mortals against these forces of nature, so ineffectual shall be the enemies of the tribes of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin, for which reason their post was to the west of the camp. From the north comes the darkness of sin, for this tribe alone will declare itself willing to accept the idols of Jeroboam, hence its place is to the north of the camp. To illuminate its darkness, put beside it shining Asher and Naphtali filled with God's plenty. 441. The four standards were distinguished from one another by their different colors, and by the inscriptions and figures worked upon each. The color of Judah's standard corresponded to the color of the three stones in the breastplate of the high priest, on which were engraved the names of Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, and was composed of red, green, and fiery red. Judah's name, as well as Issachar's and Zebulun's, was inscribed on the banner, and beside the names was this inscription, "Rise up, Lord, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee." The standard of Reuben, about which gathered also the tribes of Simeon and Gad, was the color of the emerald, the sapphire, and the sabhalum, for on these three stones were the names of these tribes engraved on the breastplate of the high priest. Besides the names of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad, the following device was wrought on the second standard, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. The third standard, around which rallied the tribes of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin, bore the color of the diamond, the turquoise, and the amethyst, for on these three stones in the high priest's breastplate were engraved the names of these three tribes. On this standard beside the names of these three tribes was the motto, "And the cloud of the Lord was upon them by day, when they went out of camp." As on the breastplate of the high priest the stones chrysolite, beryl, and pantherstone bore the names of Dan, Asher, and Naphtali, so too did the fourth standard, round which these three tribes gathered, bear a color resembling these three stones. This standard contained the names of Dan, Asher, and Naphtali, and the device, "Return, O Lord, unto the many thousands of Israel." 442. The standards had also other distinguishing characteristics. Judah's standard bore in its upper part the figure of a lion, for its forefather had been characterized by Jacob as a lion's whelp, and also sword-like hooks of gold. On these hooks God permitted a strip of the seventh cloud of glory to rest, in which were visible the initials of the names of the three patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the letters being radiations from the Shekinah. Reuben's standard had in its upper part the figure of a man, corresponding to the mandrakes that Reuben, forefather of this tribe, found, for this plant had the form of a mannequin. The hooks on this standard were like those on the standard of Judah, but the second letters of the names of the three patriarchs, Bet, Zaid, and Ayin, were seen above them in the cloud. In the standard of Ephraim was fashioned the form of a fish, for Jacob had blessed the forefather of this tribe by telling him to multiply like a fish. In all other respects it was like the other two standards, save the above the sword-like hooks of gold were seen the third letters in the names of the patriarchs, Resh, Het, and Kaf. Dan's standard contained the form of a serpent, for Dan shall be a serpent by the way, was Jacob's blessing for this tribe, and the gleaming letters over the hooks were Mem for Abraham, Kaf for Isaac, and Bet for Jacob. The letter He of Abraham's name was not indeed visible over the standards, but was reserved by God for a still greater honor. For over the holy ark, God let a pillar of cloud rest, and in this were visible the letter Yod and He, spelling the name Yah, by means of which God had created the world. This pillar of cloud shed sunlight by day and moonlight by night, so that Israel, who were surrounded by clouds, might distinguish between night and day. These two sacred letters, Yod, He, would on weekdays fly about in the air over the four standards, hovering now upon this, now upon that. But as soon as Friday was over and the Sabbath began, these letters stood immovable on the spot where they chanced to be at that moment, and remained in this rigid position from the first moment of the Sabbath to the last. Whenever God wanted Israel to break up camp and move on, He would send on from its place over the ark the cloud in which beamed the two sacred letters Yod and He in the direction in which Israel was to march, and the four strips of cloud over the standards would follow. As soon as the priests saw the clouds in motion, they blew the trumpets as a signal for starting, and the winds thereupon from all sides breathed myrrh and frankincense. 443. Although it was the clouds that gave the signal for taking down and pitching tents, still they always awaited the word of Moses. Before starting, the pillar of cloud would contract and stand still before Moses, waiting for him to say, "Rise up, Lord, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee," whereupon the pillar of cloud would be set in motion. It was the same when they pitched camp. The pillar of cloud would contract and stand still before Moses, waiting for him to say, "Return, O Lord, unto the many thousands of Israel," whereupon it would expand first over the tribes that belonged to the standard of Judah, and then over the sanctuary within and without. 444.